Hey, all right, we are going live here. And yes, I did put that in the title. Cheers, bro, chachos. One of the things I really do hang my hat on is how much talent we actually got on this team. And one of the things I always try to repeat, especially during my live streams, is I really do think that our coaching is starting to catch up with our talent. You know, and I maybe that's far fetched with the whole dream team thing, but every game that we go into, I think we're going to win. I don't know how else to say that. But I think Stefanski and having Barry back and our office getting a lot more solid. Um, Obviously, it does take a little bit more time, but we definitely want to have a better year this year. But everybody's kind of whooping on Woods, and after the first two games, everybody's a little bit uneasy. A lot of Browns fans, I think, because of the defense and some of the other stuff that's been happening in the league. But I do notice, like, I think there's pretty much a consensus that if Tyrone Shoelace was still in the game, that they would have beat us. And I don't necessarily agree with that, just because that's just like it's not the regular motion of how a game works. Then it doesn't. Okay, so Tyrod had a couple of good quarters, and then he's just going to brush through the rest of the game and have the same game. I just don't necessarily buy into that. And that's nothing against Tyrod. I thought he looked very talented. He walked into the end zone and got hurt, for God's sakes. Um, but I always hang my hat on how much talent this team has and how I would really hate to see any of these guys leave. Um, with the title, with the dream team thing, I know, like I said, I know that sounds far fetched or whatever, but I do feel like that every time we go into a game, whether it's KFC or we're playing, Tampa Gay fucking queers. I mean, it doesn't matter who we play. I'm going to think that we're going to win this thing. I really do, because of the talent. Um, and just from what I've seen, it looks like Stefanski's getting his shit together, with the offense. His calls look pretty sound. I know if you're a Browns fan, if you haven't watched Garrett Bush, watch Garrett Bush, because he does a nice kind of why other defensive strategies that could have been implemented to have our defense more secure. Such as the zero blitz, blitzing without blitzing, that whole thing, which it appeared that we didn't do. But I guess, and I had mentioned to Stumler about this, about our defense, because I do believe in our front office. It seems like they believe in Joe Woods. They believe in what he's doing. It seems. I don't think they're just they're just going to ride it out this year, and then they're going to get rid of Joe Woods. Aaron, how are you, brother? Um, because they're so analytical, they have to at least a little bit believe in what he's doing on defense. That eventually this is going to gel, and I mean, that's got to be their beliefs. I mean, because I don't know what else to think. I need to drink a beer. Because it sounds like they like Joe Woods. It sounds like everybody else doesn't. Yeah, go Cowboys. But that's kind of like and it was everybody I had watched said that if Tyrod Taylor played that whole game, we would have lost. And I just can't buy that. I know he played well. And I'm not going to go and say, well, it's Tyrod Taylor, he's not going to win. That's not necessarily what I mean. They did change quarterbacks. And now the defense has to adjust a new quarterback, and everybody's going to say, okay, Mills, is terrible or whatever. So, but you still have to adjust to him. You were playing one quarterback, you still have to adjust to the other one. Whereas they might have gotten better against Tyrod Taylor, So I kind of put that into effect, and that helps my argument, a little bit on the defensive side. But I honestly do feel that. I do feel that this offense, I don't want to see anybody go, I do get the fact, I think it was Moohead. Moohead Radio did have a great point, which is annoying about the defense is with the KC game particularly. I thought he had a great point where their defense was covering all our big guys, our big names, and they were letting guys like Schwartz, who were rookies and stuff like that, put them on lesser talent. And well, they were still kind of losing in 3 quarters, but and we were doing like the exact opposite. Like we were letting their big guys go in a certain sense, and that was annoying because that is a valid point. It seemed like that's what we were doing. Kelsey seemed to be open every time. Hill seemed to be open every time. He went out, but in hindsight, the defense was still holding up. We were still winning, through 3 quarters. So I don't know. There's that. We don't make 3 turnovers, and well, I guess the punt wasn't necessarily a turnover, but it was a botched punt, and they got it in the red zone. But that's 3 terrible plays that kind of almost gave them the game. But I don't know. Anyway, it's good to see you, Aaron. How you doing, brother? Well, so I'm just hanging. I saw that Eric just got on. I didn't think he was going to get on tonight, but I wouldn't have got on if I'd have known Eric was getting on. But Joe Green's 75th birthday, and bet paid to Raider Ben. Oh, I saw that bet paid. Oh, but anyway, I guess I'll open up and does anybody want to come in? Because I'm certainly curious how everybody's doing with the first 2 games. First 2 games going down. See how everybody feels about their stuff, because that kind of cracks me up too. The volatility in us, the fans, after 2 games, it's just kind of funny. On the defense, a lot of the guys stayed consistent, I think. Of being critical of our defense, but it's just funny. Like other teams, on other teams in the league, the first game, a lot of the Browns fans were Pittsburgh solid, man. They're gonna fucking whoop our ass, if we don't get our shit together, and then they play another game and everybody's like, oh, Ben can't even get up when he gets knocked down and all that happy horse shit. It's just funny how. And it happens every year. We go through this every year. The volatility. Through each game, everybody has like there's not like a trend that goes, depending on a win and loss, they whoop on their team. It's just funny. It's nice to see Camel Toe's team's doing really well, but wow, this isn't. I'm doing a Yingling, and it's tasting domestic, man, Oh, but anyway, so we got the Bears Sunday at 1, and we got Justin Fields, which is, well, I think did they name Andy Dalton as the quarterback? But I think we'll probably see Justin Fields eventually. I think we should probably prepare for both, but that would be cool to see Justin Fields in there. Oh, and by the way, I did see a new, any of you Browns fans, I did see, or I don't know if they're new, but they just popped up on my recommended list. The Cleveland Pulse, there's a couple of guys from Ohio State that got a Browns review channel that's pretty good that I liked. They seem pretty cool, and they seem pretty informed too. They got a pretty good pulse on the Browns. I think I think they were pretty good on calling the KFC game, if I'm not mistaken. Watched one of their uh, previews for the KC game, so check those guys out. They're pretty cool. But let's say the everybody's kind of saying the Bears defense is actually pretty good, but I think the Cincinnati Lions having a lot of trouble, if I'm not mistaken. So it's hard to get like an accurate picture of how great their defensive line is, but I hear their secondary is kind of lacking. I was watching Moohead, and they're getting a lot of yards passed on and stuff like that. So I think Moohead was saying we should pass more than run, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, but I like to think that our tight ends should have a pretty good day, if that's the case. With some slants and curls and all that happy horse shit, or out of the backfield tight end curls. I think they're going. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we're zeroing out of here, so I think I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So I don't think I have anything else to say. But anyway, it's been cool. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Later. Good night. Peace.